Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, with my cup of tea. Good morning. Well, if you're watching this video when I'm recording it, it is the morning. This is the last part in the question and answer session from Peter Faulding, the interview that he did, and this is the last part. I've done it in 5 parts because it was very long, and then with my commentary as well. So this is the part 5 and the last part. First thing I want to say is thank you to everyone who's been watching, who's made positive comments about it, who understands the reason why I'm doing this, because this was a question and answer session that was set up. People contributed, not only with framing the questions, but financially towards this question and answer session, which then promptly disappeared, and some people were actually halfway through watching it and never got a chance to see the whole thing. So, I have waited to see if it went back up, but it hasn't. So I had recorded it because I had a feeling that it might disappear, because I, like many people, sat and watched it and thought, so anyway, to go through, it's not, as I say, as I've said in all the other videos, it's not to discredit Peter, it's to listen to what he had to say. That was the original reason for him doing the question and answer session. People had questions, people were shocked. So he wanted to do that because he said he had nothing to hide, and that now, it's been hidden for whatever reason. So people understand. I think I'm not discrediting him or dishing Luke or anything. I'm just commenting on this video as I find it, of the answers that he gave, and what they make me think. And that is my opinion on the things he says. So you will have your opinion, as you know, on this channel. We don't be nasty to each other if we have opposing opinions. If you see an opinion from someone you don't like it, just scroll past it. You don't even have to answer it. I mean, you can answer it if you want to and put your side ahead, but what I'm trying to say is there's no point in having a go at someone who doesn't necessarily see your point of view. Everybody has their point of view, and you can respectfully give it on this channel. What was the other thing I wanted to say? Oh yeah, thank you to everybody who's liked my videos, subscribed to my channel. Special thank you to my members. We've got members live tomorrow night, haven't we? If you're watching this on the day I'm recording it, which is a Wednesday, tomorrow night. Every Thursday is members live, where we have a bit of fun, but we also talk about serious issues. If you want to become a member, you can find the link on my YouTube page, of course. The other thing I want to thank is that lots of people have bought me Ko-fis or sent me supers, etc. I just want to say thank you so much, because you make my channel, all of you. If all you do is watch my video, you help me in my channel, help my channel grow. And not only that, you keep me going when there's times when I wish I could. I just want to give it all up because of nastiness sometimes that I get, etc. Normally from other creators. It's funny that, isn't it? But yeah, so thank you so much for keeping me going. Hope I'm giving the content that you find interesting. I do a lot of different content, not only about Nicole Bulley, and you'll find that on my channel. Lots of different content, lots of different playlists. Now, these particular series of videos, looking at the question and answer session, I've made a playlist for these, and I will put that in the community post when I've uploaded this video. What I'm going to do with it is what I did with the one yesterday. I'm going to arrange a live tonight where we watch it together. I'm going to make the video now, arrange a live tonight where we watch it together, because people like chatting, and I can chat with everybody as well. And then probably tomorrow morning, I will release this video, which is just purely about the actual question and answer. Because some people don't like, trying to keep everyone happy. Some people like the lives because they like the interchange between the chatters and with me, etc. And they like the sort of chatting on. Other people don't. They just want to watch the video, get on with it. And that's what this will be for. So try and please everybody. I know you can't please all the people all the time, but I'll certainly try. So yes, so let's have a look where we'd got to now. I do think this is the most interesting part of the question and answer, because of course by now Peter, which he probably regrets, I don't blame him for having a few whiskies, good for him, but maybe because he was trying to give this sort of professional critique, if you like, maybe he shouldn't have done that. I wonder if he regrets that, because he did get more talkative, and he's talkative at the best of the times, isn't he? He is what I would call a chatty Cathy. He likes chatting like I do. I'm sure he's a very interesting guy to chat to, but maybe this interview should have been a little bit more succinct. Anyway, you know what I think? I don't think it was a good idea to do it live. It should have not been live, but they would have got criticism for that, I know. So you can't please all the people all the time. So let's take, where were we?
Side, right the way round. It's a big area, and that's when it's found.
So yeah, I get all that. I might have missed within that answer because I was looking at a couple of other things at the same time.
Yeah.
So, and that when they first came back to tell you what the target was,
yeah,
did they say then it was nothing, or it was branches?
No, it was nothing. No,
they said it was nothing on the 7th.
Yeah, it was nothing. That's what baffled me, because
so what accounts for the shadows and what
accounts?
Well,
nothing exactly. Look. Let me make it clear to your audience, and I really appreciate everyone listening to me. I'm not a liar. I'm not here for publicity. If I was here for publicity, I would have gone to a national newspaper and sold the images. I don't work like that. I don't need the money. I don't need the publicity. This is about the truth to come out.
We had got a little bit further than this, so I'm just going to let this run. We'd got to the point, I think Luke goes for a bathroom break, and that's where we'd got to when he finished the questions.
Not for a damn good organisation who do a great job for many families around the UK and police forces around the UK, and we've solved lots of crimes that have gone unsolved. Okay, let me make that very clear. We're very credible. I'm not some guy who's just come out the blue and started.
Does say, let me make that very clear a lot. I think, unfortunately, Peter, the protest that he makes about how credible he is and how, him saying it, I have come to realise it is him saying it. So it's not very often you get other experts on. Well, I must look for it. I need to find some videos of other people saying how fantastic Peter is, apart from just Peter, because he does, if you are so credible, so brilliant, you don't have to really keep saying it, but maybe he just feels that he does at the moment.
Started this, do some background on me. Trouble is, whenever you Google me now, there's thousands of pages of Nicole Bulley before you get to the other stuff.
Yeah.
And a lot of my work back in '99, for all those youngsters here, there was no internet then. So a lot of the stuff like Toby and Alison McGarrigle would appear in a paper, but we never, because again, we never spoke to the media that we might not be named that we were on the job. Like Tobin, people didn't even know that I was on the Tobin case until in the last few years when I've done podcasts about it with detectives and crime.
Yeah, because the world has changed, but Peter's changed too, so he knows that. So he's trying to promote himself. He was trying to promote his book, whatever he says. His book is promoted left, right, and centre on his social media. He's now promoting it in America. So I think, personally, in my opinion, I think that's got a lot to do with it. That's he's going. He said earlier in this interview, and you'll see that if you watch the video 4, he said that they weren't being asked so often to go and search for people by the police, because of the police being starved of resources. So probably maybe years ago, when the police had more money and would get a company like Peter to help out more often, now the money side of things has probably made a difference to his main business, you know. So he's branched out, he's written a book, he's getting into the social media, he's been on James English YouTube channel, you know. So and I'm sure he says he would sell those pictures to a national newspaper if he was looking for more attention. But then he says, oh no, but I wouldn't do that. But I think we all know, I personally think one day these pictures are going to be public. He says he's never going to make them public because of respect to the family. But he has shown them to a lot of other people who are nothing to do with Sonar experts. Oh my God, that word Sonar, I literally would not care if I never heard that word ever again. So, you know, Peter is doing what he can to salvage his reputation. But I don't think he's been advised very well. It's like to me, it's like Prince Andrew when he tried to salvage his reputation. It just made it worse. I think really that's what's happened with Peter, because the public in general, I think, were very supportive of Peter. But it's the police, isn't it? That he feels the police are trying to discredit him. So in return, he's trying to discredit them. That's how I feel about it.
Programs, because they never thought that we searched the house, and we did. So yeah, there's lots of things here, but hopefully we can move forward.
That's 50 questions, Peter.
Okay.
So I am just going to, again, and when I nip to the toilet, I mean,
Yep.
maybe tell people what you're doing for Christmas. You doing anything special? What you having? You having a turkey? You having beef? What you having? All that. Fill the time is what I'm saying.
I will.
Back
Well,
in a minute.
Those who know me, I've got lots of chickens and ducks and geese. We've got some lakes on our land, so I've got loads of animals. We're going away for Christmas, but our good friend is Jill is looking after all our animals for us. So I've got 12 alpacas, 1 llama, 4 emus. They're free roaming, by the way. Ducks, geese. She's here tonight. Actually, she's come tonight. We're going away tomorrow. But loads of different.
And more whiskey, please. Yeah, they were going away the next day. So that's obviously why he wanted to do this interview on this day, because I think it was him who suggested the date. So he wanted to do it, and then he was going away for Christmas.
Yeah, 3 turkeys. I've got a pet pig called Louis. He's got his own Facebook page, Louis the Pig. If you look at Louis the Pig, he's got his own Facebook page. And I inherited him, by the way. And that we didn't set the Facebook page up. I've got, what else have I got? Ducks, geese, turkeys. And I've got 24 sheep, I think. Loads of sheep wandering as well. So I'm a big animal lover, and that's what keeps me sane, I suppose. Living on the farm, which I enjoy. And when our alpacas pass away, they get buried, and I do a lot of forensic work. So locating, I use the bodies.
This was not a good thing to say. Do you know, we were all sat there going, he's got a pig called Louis and he's got the alpacas. And then he started saying this, and listen, whether it's practical to do or whether it's understandable why he does it, was not a good thing to say. It was like, I think most people, you know, like me, I was sat there, and then it was, you know, Peter, this is the whiskey, you know, he's not thinking about what he's saying.
To the grave, so when they die naturally, by the way, cheers Jill, then they get buried on the land, and then they get used for, and I train forensic students in forensic search for human remains, which is obviously my speciality, using ground radar, magnetometers, metal detectors, and all sorts of specialist kit. Really, were what I use, and that's what I'm sort of well known for, really. I was just talking about my search. You've been to the farm, Luke, haven't you?
Yeah, it's quality. Yeah, all the alpacas and whatnot.
So yeah, we got a lot of land, and I bought a rundown sort of farmhouse years ago, and that's my relaxation, really. My animals. I'm passionate about animals, and I don't kill animals, by the way. I love animals. So we
Yeah, why does he feel like he has to even say that? Nobody said he did kill animals, but he felt like he had to say it. But of course, then there was the thing about the beagles at the Huntingdon Sciences Labs that he was, his company was removing the protesters. But that now has disappeared from his website. So that was he should have. Why it was on his website like a badge of honor that he'd done it, and then when it all came out, he didn't. He realized that people didn't really like that, so he removed it, or someone removed it from his website instead of just coming out, maybe addressing it. Peter doesn't address things. If you're sort of if that comes out, and you should have perhaps addressed that, or in some way just say, statement, I was involved in the protest removal there, but I don't have allegiance with I don't know, but it just make it disappear as if it was never there. That is, I don't like that, because people had seen it. It had been screenshot. I've got a screenshot of it, so I know it was there once. It just isn't there anymore. And I wasn't the only one who screenshot it. So yeah, and then to sort of actually have to say, I don't kill animals, by the way. Oh no, I don't kill animals, by the way. Well, nobody said you did, Peter. Let's hope you don't.
Publicity. If I was here for publicity, I would have gone to a national newspaper and sold the images. I don't work like that. I don't need the money. I don't need the publicity. This is about the truth to come out for a damn good organisation who do a great job for many families around the wandering as well. So I'm a big animal lover, and that's what keeps me sane, I suppose, living on the farm, which I enjoy. And when our alpacas pass away, they get buried. And I do a lot of forensic work. So locating, I use the bodies to the grave. So when they die naturally, by the way, cheers, Jill, then they get buried on the land, and then they get used. And I train forensic students in forensic search for human remains, which is obviously my speciality, using ground radar, magnetometers, metal detectors, and all sorts of specialist kit. Really, were what I use, and that's what I'm sort of well known for, really. I was just talking about my search. You've been to the farm, Luke, haven't you?
Yeah, it's quality. Yeah, all the alpacas and whatnot.
So yeah, we got a lot of land, and I bought a rundown sort of farmhouse years ago, and that's my relaxation, really. My animals. I'm passionate about animals, and I don't kill animals, by the way. I love animals. So we won't be having turkey at Christmas. I'll be having. We'll have some. I'm not a vegetarian, by the way. I do eat meat, but we don't kill our own. But I won't eat. After having Gerald for the lot, my wife said, "Let's get some turkeys," because she follows this turkey on Instagram that's got he cuddles up. Our one won't. My mum walks around the corner, and there's a video I put on Facebook the other week where he's actually chasing my mum around, and he chasing my daughter.
Is that Gerald?
Yeah, I've got a 10-year-old girl, and he chases her around. But you've met him, Luke. Anyway, we had a great time, didn't we?
Yeah, it was good. It was good fun. It was
yeah.
It was like a little holiday, because I'm from small part of Manchester, and just from the small streets, and then to go to like your night.
Well, I mean, I want to tell the people that I grew up on a council estate in an ex-council house. I've got a very normal background. I left school with failed all sort of my exams, really, and I went on. I obviously done well later in life, but I done an apprenticeship as a radar engineer. And then at 18, I joined the Parachute Regiment Reserve, and I served 6 years. I got my red beret. I done my winged parachute.
So he was only reserve, he wasn't in the army, if you like. But he got his red beret or whatever he got. But yeah, he did well later in life. So what was that with this business, with the protest removal? I mean, what led to him doing so well later in life? So he says he was brought up on a council estate in an ex-council house. So I would imagine then that his parents bought that house. Don't know. Maybe that, I just don't know, because I haven't read his book. I've no intention of reading his book, especially not now. I was thinking about it before buying his book, but I certainly would not buy it now. But people tell me about it anyway. There are lots of excerpts that I've read and maybe one day I'll read it. But I'm waiting to see, because if another book comes out with these Sonar images, and the day I found Nicole Bulley, I'm waiting to see what he ends up doing with these images, if anything.
Course, I've done selection for the parachute regiment. I was in there 6 years, and then I formed SGI in 1995. So I've got a technical background as a radar engineer, and then I went on to join the paras, and I've done 42 jumps, and it's so interesting. So he
says he formed SGI in 1995. That's what he says.
In the Nicola Bulley, just after the Nicola Bulley case, I got one of the well-known newspapers ring me and said, Peter, you said that you're in the paras in your book, and apparently you're a liar. And I said, well, he said, we're just going to go to print with it. And I said, well, you do your research, because if you read it, and I'll send you some pictures. And I sent him some pictures straight away of me in all my uniforms and with a team and my mates. And we had a reunion a while ago, and they quickly withdrew it and they apologized. But it just shows you how many people have gone out to try and discredit me.
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? So a newspaper, getting in touch with him and saying, you said you were in the paras and you were lying. So he wasn't lying in a sense, but maybe he was embroidering, enhancing the truth. As I say, for those of you out there who've read his book, you'll know whether he says that he was in the reservists or whether he actually says he was a para. There is a difference at the end of the day. But yeah, and that story never appeared in the papers, so they obviously did remove it. So I wonder where that came from, because when he talks about people discrediting him, I hope he doesn't mean me, because I'm not trying to discredit him. I'm just, interested in the Nicola Bulley case. I'm not interested in what he did or didn't do, and I would never, I am a bit. I am disappointed in Peter, because I did really trust him when he said all those times over and over and over again that she wasn't in the river. And I don't like the way he's done this, what he's doing. But I'm not trying to discredit him. I mean, whatever he's done in his life, good, well done. But somebody then who sent that story to the papers, somebody who actually sent that story to the papers, obviously was trying to literally discredit him. And so I wonder who that was and why. Strange, isn't it? Unless it was the police. Could well have been the police.
And I put the pictures of my reunion with my paramates last year on my Facebook, and it's quite worrying that people will try to discredit you. It's quite sad, really. It's really grim. I'm that sort of person, I don't lie. Everything I say is the truth. I won't lie to people. And I've got nothing to benefit from lying about this Nicola Bulley case. If I'd been wrong, I wouldn't have gone to this length. Look, I've got no notes in front of me tonight.
Yeah, it's not quite true, because he has got something to lose, because he's fighting for his reputation. The police have discredited him. He's trying to discredit the police. And then he says, oh, I've got nothing against the police. What he wants, I think what he really, really wants, and I don't think he's going to get it, to be honest, unfortunately. He wants Lancashire Police, or the police, whoever the police is. He wants them to reach out to him and them to have a chat, have a shake hands, and have a whiskey together, and that's it. It's all forgotten. They acknowledge that he found Nicola Bulley, and it's just not going to happen, is it? It's not going to happen. So, and it still goes back to me, like people say, oh well, when he said many, 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 many times that she was definitely categorically not in the river, and he checked his equipment and everything, he said. He did say that. Now he's not, and that people say, oh, well, the police wouldn't let him dive. And then, but the thing is, he didn't have to say anything. Like if he in his mind was thinking, oh, I think that might have been her there. He didn't have to go on all these programs. He did seek publicity. He should have kept his own counsel, gone through his images, got them verified. He keeps saying he's you know, why he's waited this long, I don't know, but he says he's going to. And then he should have kept his cards close to his chest. He didn't have to go on all these programs saying she's definitely not in the river and she may have run off with someone that he was saying early on, or the things were a decoy, or this. He didn't have to say anything. This is, I mean, I feel like I understand a bit more about Peter after watching this now. He likes to talk. He finds it difficult not to say anything. You know, if that was a woman, you know, he'd be vilified for it, for his chattiness and everything. He likes to chat, so maybe he just couldn't help himself. But he didn't do himself any favours, did he? Bless him.
I'm not looking down at a computer. I'm telling the truth as it is. Debbie knows me. I sent the images today. She knows me very well. And Luke is an honest guy, and I can tell you, Luke's a great guy, totally honest, and he.
Yeah, this Debbie thing didn't do him any favours, and he admits there that he sent the images to her, and he must, for her to make that video that she did, Debbie Davis the psychic, and that was in the video, in the was it number 3 video, I think that I played that in the 3rd part of this series. It was awful. It was awful. And he must have known she was, I don't believe she did that without asking him, because also she was pinning the comment about, you know, for people to watch the question and answer. It was on that day. And I think she'd been asked to do that. So, you know, his judgment, it makes you wonder about his judgment. Because that was awful, and that cast a very bad look upon Peter, I think.
He wouldn't have any dealings with me. Like we said, we don't want to swear. We're not here to do we're not here to do cop bashing. We're not here to knock the police. I'm not doing that. You know, it's like me. I see these people trolling MPs every day, slagging off the Prime Minister and, you know, Boris and everybody. You wouldn't want their job. I wouldn't want their job, because it must be horrible waking up with, if you're left or right, whatever way.
Yeah, he might mean me there, because I do quite often do that. But no, I'm sure I'm not that important that it means me. But the thing is, that's, you know, you go on social media, you know, especially Twitter, that's just what happens, isn't it? And, you know, if you don't like the Prime Minister, you have a right to say you don't like the Prime Minister. What is he saying? That we shouldn't, because it's the Prime Minister, we shouldn't make any comment about whether we think they're rubbish or not. Of course, we've got the right to do that. That's free speech. You know, that is just a fact. And if you don't want that, you don't become Prime Minister. Rishi and Boris Johnson, they don't need the money either. So why did they want to be Prime Minister? Oh God, that must be awful, waking up to all that. Well, they don't give a toss about what minions say about them. Do you think is Rishi Sunak really losing sleep at night over what I or anybody else say about him? And I don't ever say anything personal about him. It's just about his bloody uselessness in trying to run Britain, and you know, how Britain has become, how they've run Britain down. You know, that's my thing, and I would say that against anybody. Because I want to be proud to be British. I don't want to be ashamed of being British. So why does he say that? It's like he feels sorrier for Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson than he does for Nicola's family, I think. You know, he's like, it's all about money, you know, the powers that be. Is he still trying for a knighthood even after all this? I don't know. But do you see what I'm saying? Why shouldn't people, there is a price. You put yourself out there, even someone like me with a tiny YouTube channel, you put yourself on YouTube, you are putting yourself out there, and you are going to get people making fun of you, saying horrible things about you. That's what comes with the good things that you're going to get, which are people saying nice things about you. And it's like, you know, sometimes the bad things that get you down, of course they get you down, but you know, and I'm not earning what Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson are earning, you know, but I'm earning a little bit from YouTube. If I don't want to take that flack, I have to come off YouTube. No, that's my choice. I'm not saying, oh, poor me, you know, I have a choice to go on YouTube. If I don't want to be talked about, I suppose, I mean, you know, I should just come off, shouldn't I? And that would happen if in the end I couldn't cope with it. A lot of YouTubers do have mental health issues. That's something else, another video that I want to do, because really there's been a lot of YouTubers that have, is it like a pressure? I'd say even for my tiny channel, maybe it gets better as you get as a bigger channel because you get more confident about it or more dismissive of it. Maybe it's harder when you're first starting out because you're like, oh, why are they saying that about me or whatever. I do think I'm getting used to it more and learning how to sort of just brush it off more. But it's a choice that you make. It's like becoming famous, isn't it? You want to be a famous singer or an actor or do something in the public eye because you like the adulation, you like the good side of it. I should imagine doing a concert, or it's like a drug probably, you know, you go out there and, you know, there's all these people there loving you and loving your music, and that must feel brilliant. And that's why a lot of people in between they can't cope with it, because that feeling when you're on stage is so fantastic, it's hard to recreate it. And a lot of people, obviously, they do it with drugs or alcohol or things like that. But yeah, a lot of YouTubers have fallen by the wayside for reasons of mental health, etc. It's not easy. So it's no different for a prime minister. Rishi Sunak doesn't have to be prime minister if he doesn't want to take flack. Or he wants to be prime minister and just everyone say, oh, yes, Rishi, you're fantastic, Rishi. It's not going to happen because you won't be able to please everybody, whatever you do. You know, even if you're a brilliant prime minister, you're not going to be able to please everybody. Somebody won't like you.
There you go, but getting hammered by trolls. You know, make comments, fine, but don't be nasty. Don't be vile to people. It's
no,
just
being
not the way
vile
you do it.
is not nice.
Well said. Well
Yeah.
said. And you know, I think there's
He needs a
you know,
straw.
there's some questions in there that a lot of people did have that I think personally you've cleared up quite well.
Yeah.
It was, how long we've been on for now? Been on for nearly 3 hours.
Have we? Oh well.
Yeah,
Okay.
171 minutes. Now I don't know.
It's been on for nearly 3 hours. It's taken me 5 videos to get through this. So, you know, did feel for Luke, definitely looked like he was losing the will to live a couple of times. But I think Peter just got more and more chatty as the whiskey went down. He obviously likes a chat.
I don't know if you want to.
Yeah.
You said you want to do like you kind of start to finish on the search.
Well, yeah, I mean, I will. I'll just run over it quickly. I think,
yeah,
to be honest, that's how I got involved really with Nicola. So, as you probably know, Martin Brunt, I've known for years. Martin's a great crime reporter for Sky News. And what you got to realise about the media, they're there to do a job. They're there to report. We all read the media.
I just want to say a little something about Martin Brunt. So, wasn't it Martin Brunt who went to pursue that poor woman who supposedly was trolling in the Madeleine McCann case? In other words, she wasn't going with the narrative that they wanted, the mainstream media wanted to follow, the narrative that Madeleine had been kidnapped and the parents had nothing to do with it. So when they say she was trolling, she wasn't actually being nasty. She was saying what she thought on social media, which of course a lot of people do now on Twitter, I believe. And they went to her house. They went to her house to interview her. Sky News. So this woman, why was she so important to them that they felt that they had to do that? You know, let's just, I did a video on this, or it was part of another video that I did. They really put them aside, you know, it was out of proportion for what she did, in my opinion. You know, she was just let's see, Brenda Leyland. That's you know, so she was saying things that probably a lot of people have said about Paul Ansell, or about not only in the Nicola case, in lots of cases. But she was exposed for sending hundreds of abusive, now saying abusive tweets. I don't know what they mean by abusive. I don't know if, let me just share this actually. I don't know if this is her son, and he says, my mother the troll. Nice. I think she lost sight of the McCann's humanity. What I'd like to know is, why was she singled out? I mean, there are Facebook groups about Madeleine McCann's parents, you know, that criticise them day in, day out. You know, why was this woman singled out? And actually Martin Brunt turned up on her doorstep with Sky News to ask her why she was, so this was in 2014. She was approached by a Sky News journalist, which was Martin Brunt, I believe, who asked her why she was trolling the McCanns on Twitter. And she was just about to get into a car with her friend to visit a garden centre, and she declined to comment. And he then told her that she'd been reported to Scotland Yard. I mean, I'd like to see some of her tweets to see what exactly was she saying. You know, that would have to be like pretty, to be reported to Scotland Yard for, you know, just a woman. Like, she's not an influencer. She's not someone even with a, you know, a YouTube channel or any sort of social media presence. And she was picked out from all the different people that would have been saying things about Madeleine McCann's parents. There would have been millions of people saying it. Why was she picked out? I would like to know. Anyway, so he told her that she'd been reported to Scotland Yard and her tweets were being investigated as part of a larger campaign of abuse against the McCanns. And well, that's fair enough, she said calmly. But apparently her face gave her away, her eyes blinked and her cheek twitched anxiously. 4 days later, on the 4th of October 2014, Brenda killed herself. She booked into a hotel and killed herself. You know, so this resulted in a number of newspaper stories, the toxic culture of Twitter, the danger of people hiding behind avatars and fake names. I agree with that. I don't like the fake names and avatars and things. I think, you know, people should be open who they are. You know, a lot of the abuse that you do get on Twitter or on YouTube and that, they're normally like people just started their account that day, or, you know, there's just like a picture, you know, just like a picture of you know, not a real photo of them or whatever. I don't like that. I think that I personally agree with that. I think when you give your opinion, you should be public on there. So you know, because that way people would be more careful maybe I'm not saying you shouldn't complain about people or say what you think, but maybe not to be too nasty. I don't know what Brenda's tweets were like, but yeah, it's, you know, I don't know. So what could have led a woman to post hundreds of tweets attacking a couple she had never met? And why did she think there was nothing left to live for when she was caught out? So, yeah. She was 63 and she grew up in a military family in Albrighton, Shropshire. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I should do like a video sort of devoted to her and looking at, because what I'd like to know is what were the tweets? How bad were they? Where's some examples of the tweets? You know, where's some examples of the tweets? But anyway, that's not what I'm here for now. But the things I did feel for her, because why was she singled out? You know, and this was Martin Brunt, of course, who went and did that. So I've got to find my way back now to where I was. Brenda Leyland, rest in peace. But yeah, just a surprise. So this is Martin Brunt that he's talking about. Well, that changed a lot about reporting and that. So they've got to be very careful now, haven't they, about what they say. And I agree, you shouldn't say vile things, but it's not a vile thing to say you don't agree with someone. Is it even really a vile thing to say, for example, about the McCanns? You know, that you think that they had something to do with that. Is that a vile thing? or is it vile? Like if you said something like, oh, they're murdering bar stewards or whatever, that is vile, isn't it? So yeah, maybe this needs some attention as to where you can draw the line. And what you, because of course people talk on social media. It's like me, and now to me, I'm like chatting with you as if I was sat at home chatting, but of course we're not. I'm on the internet, and anyone can go on there and read it or see it or listen to it. And maybe you do. It's like Peter now. He's relaxing into it. He feels he's just having a chat with Luke. And you start saying things that maybe, you know, you start to relax, and especially if you're having a drink or whatever, or taking some drugs, you start to relax and say things, you know, maybe with hindsight you shouldn't. So it's that's a big, to me, that's a big subject that needs exploring. Where does free speech end and just be nasty stuff? So as far as Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak are concerned, they're prime ministers and they have to take whatever abuse they get. But again, it shouldn't be nasty abuse, you know, like shouldn't be racist abuse against Rishi Sunak, for example. You know, he's criticising his policies and criticizing his lack of them or his total inept, you know. To me, that's just what I think. He hasn't shown me that he isn't inept. Same with Boris Johnson, you know, he's got a likable personality. Boris Johnson sort of worked on it was his personality that carried him through in my eyes. I don't think he did anything good for Britain. What did he do that was good for Britain? So this is what I'm saying. So it's an interesting point. I'm waffling on now. Sorry, I haven't even had a whiskey. I've only had my tea. But yeah, it's interesting, Peter, bringing Martin Brunt up. So Martin Brunt, Peter, and Mark Williams Thomas are like the three musketeers, aren't they?
So I'm not going to knock them. They write, some might change the story slightly. We all know that. Well, that's their job. It sells the newspapers. Fine, happy days.
Well, we all know that, do we, Peter? Well, they say that's what social media does. So Peter here is saying that mainstream media does it.
Whatever way you are, whether you're left or right, I don't really care. I'm not into politics. I don't ever make political comments on my Twitter feed. I'm not about stabbing people in the back. I don't work like that. I just put pictures of my animals up and stuff and diving. But I got contacted by Martin Brunt from Sky, who was covering the case, and I said that he said, would you mind going on Sky and doing a chat about how to search water, which is normal. It's like during the Thai cave rescue. Those who know me, I've done a lot of caving as a kid since I was 5 years old with my dad, and I wrote about it in the book. And it was sort of, I spent my life in disused mines as a kid. So they brought me on to do the Thai cave rescue commentary, which is Sky News, so they know me. And then on the Sunday, I got a call from Emma White. Then I got a call who agreed to put my team up, lovely lady. And I know she's faced a lot of trolling as well, and Paul has. And then I spoke to Paul, and then I spoke to Lancashire Police.
And that's interesting because Luke says nothing there, but Luke in the early, again, videos that have disappeared from Luke's channel, but Luke made a video very early on likening Paul Ansell to Chris Watts. You know, and Luke sort of, that's disappeared as well, you know. So that was Luke's thoughts on Paul Ansell, that he actually did a whole video about his body language and you know, likened him to Chris Watts and said he was like a Chris Watts double, you know. So see, Luke didn't comment on that there, but Peter's saying that Paul's been trolled. Yes, okay.
And they agreed for us to go up. Now, whether they wanted us there or not, that was it. It's come out in the report now that we weren't really wanted there. We were going to be a pain in the butt, but and it's exactly the same what happened years ago with Ellis Downs. We don't want you here. That's fine. And then we arrived.
Yeah, now somebody made a comment, which is on the previous. So we were talking about Ellis Downs in the previous video, and he was told, wasn't he, to go home. And he insisted, no, I'm not going home, I'm going. And he went in and he found Ellis Downs and he was like the hero of the moment. So he defied them there, but now in Nicky's case, he didn't defy them when they told him, not to dive, etc. So it's funny, isn't it? So he stood up for himself there, but not in this case. Strange, isn't it?
On Monday morning, the team arrived on Sunday night. Emma kindly put the lads up in the farmhouse at her farm. I flew up in the helicopter on Monday morning. I'd done a live feed with Mark Williams Thomas while I was flying up from the air. I flew down the river,
Yes, I mean, going, he talked about going in the helicopter and how much money it cost him. That he didn't need to go in the helicopter, did he? He went in the helicopter to make an impression. He did it. He didn't need to do that.
Rough view of the area, and then I landed, and then I spoke to Emma, met the police, and then we got on. But that's when it all kicked off. So that's when I was surrounded by loads.
So notice he said that it was Emma who called him. He said Emma called him. This is another discrepancy, isn't it? Who called him? These things, they don't matter in a way, but they do in another way. Was it Paul who phoned, or was it Emma? Was it Paul who phoned the ambulance on the for the welfare check, or was it Louise? There's so much controversy, so many different things.
So many photographers and film crews, and I walked through the middle of them at that stage. And I got in the boat, and then the drones flying over our heads. And then I got to the end of the day, and I got out the bank, quick chat with the police officer, and then I was literally again surrounded by them. But at not one point did anybody stop to say, Peter, don't talk to the media. I can tell you that now. Can I just have a wee, Luke?
Josh, yeah, go for it.
Hang on, carry on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll just talk to the...
So again, he's saying that nobody told him not to talk to the media, but he didn't need telling. He said earlier, he knows his discretion itself. He would never talk about this and he would never do that. So that's not, I won't accept that. I do accept that the police should have cordoned things off and controlled things better. But if Peter, after all those years of experience from 1995, so that's, 30 years nearly experience, he doesn't know by now that he's not supposed to talk to the media about a case. What does that tell you?
The toxic chat. I hope it's been. I'm just one of you. I'm just one of you guys here. And there were some of these questions that have been asked, which, like, 1 second, my iPad's gone off. Not off. Just hold on.
So he's got an iPad he's working off there, Luke. It's funny because later on he says he only works off a phone, so I'm not sure whose iPad that is, whether it's Peter's or Luke's. Doesn't matter, I suppose.
Yeah, some of these questions that you've asked, like, I've wondered the same thing. Do you know what I mean? I've wondered, like, about X, Y, and Z. Just like you have, I'm no different. And I just want the truth like everybody else wants the truth. So yeah, I've learned an awful lot from these answers as well. It's been very interesting. I think. Thanks to the moderators, by the way. Like, done a really, really good job. Thank you for all the super chats. Thank you for the support. If you do enjoy this channel, then consider subscribing. I would appreciate it, and obviously, like, it grows the channel. I try and bring you good content. I try and bring you honest content, and it would just help someone grow a bit more. And here he is, Mr. Faulding.
I'm back. Sorry about that. That was the longest pee I've had for a while, but I needed that. I think
that was pretty quick, to be fair.
No, that was all right. Just a quick one.
Oh, so funny. That was the longest pee I've had for a while. I quite like him more when he says things like that, because I bet he's quite funny, when he gets going with his whiskies.
I think, where were we? So we got there, and sadly there was no control of the media, and I ended up getting things. So we started the first day. Our job by the police was not my preferred preference, because I wanted to search the hot zone. They tasked us with searching downriver. from the weir down to Cartford Bridge, which I think was about 3.27 miles, if I recall, on the report. When we noted as we went down, the tide had gone out. It was extremely shallow, and the tide was going out, and it was getting lower and lower. And we could see the bottom. I mean, you could see everything on the bottom near enough. And the sonar was actually pulled up, pulled down, and we could see there was nothing there. We got all the way to Cartford, and in the end, we got grounded out. We had to haul the boat up the bank, and we had a few laughs because Chris got his feet stuck in the mud, and it was just awful. And that was the end of the first day. And I went back and I said, "There's nothing there. There was nothing in that lower part of the river." I could see it. As I drive down as the team drive me down the river, I'm looking at the screen, and it's feeding down in front of me, and I can see every footprint, I can see every rock, I can see every stone, and there's nothing there. That was clear. Day 2, we then were tasked, searching upriver from the bench. Now, I was inquisitive, so they wanted us to go upriver from the bench up to the caravan park. I mean, bearing in mind we probably weren't wanted there. So I said to the team, "Right, take me down towards the weir. We're going to start. We're going to come up from the bench." Cheers, anyway.
Cheers. I've only got water.
No, I've got a whiskey and my second one, but it is late, so I think I deserve a whiskey. So. Yeah.
Peter, you deserve a whiskey. Of course you do. You don't have to apologise for having a whiskey. Now, he did say there, you noticed that he was tasked with a certain thing and he got inquisitive and he went a bit further. I bet he really annoyed the police. You've got to see that. He wasn't listening. He knew better. He was doing what he wanted to do. So it's funny, isn't it, that he then, after that, sort of, all these times that he's disobeying the police, and then when it came to the time of finding Nicola, he says he didn't disobey, he didn't there. So that's what makes me unsure that he actually did see anything.
We came upriver, and so what we did, we circled around, we put the sonar fish in the water on the corner down towards the weir. Near the weir, it's quite shallow. So then we lower the towfish in the water, and then while he then moved around, I said, "Right, let's keep going. And we didn't start. And then I sort of started the timer at 10:28. We chugged upriver about 1.2 knots in speed, 1.2 to 2 knots, slowly up the river towards the bench on the corner where, Nicola's phone was found. And the thing is with sonar, I'll explain to her, I cannot be making any of this up, because everything is time date stamped. It's what they call geolocated. So it shows where the boat is in the UK on the map. The exact.
Fair enough. It's true what he's saying. He says he can't be making it up, but then I'm not saying let us see the images, but get the images verified then. It's not that we don't believe that you've got sonar. Of course you've got sonar. What we're not sure of is actually what is on that sonar. Was it, Nicola? Was it so clear as Debbie said it was, where you could see head, shoulders, bottom, feet? Was it that clear or not? So, it's not that we don't believe Peter that he's got sonar or that he did those things or even that he saw a shadow. It's not that. It's where's the proof that it was Nicola? That is. So I'm still waiting. And with holding judgment a little bit. We're on the 17th of January now. We're not, but I'll tell you what, if it comes to the end of January and nothing's happened, I think we've got to call time on this and realise that these images are not going to be verified. But still a little way to go yet.
Time. It cannot be forged. It cannot be faked. Every file is sequenced, so it's all stored forever. And no one, and all the metadata can be looked at forensically, and he cannot change it. So people have said, "Oh, he's made this up." No, it's there on a computer. It cannot be changed, and they can analyze anything.
Yeah, I don't think he's made any of it up. I'm not saying that he's made it up. I think maybe he's now looking at, putting more into this shadow or whatever that he saw to try and save his reputation. That's what I think. I don't think he's made anything up. Of course he hasn't. He's got his sonar proof and data, but did say earlier on that he'd been through all the data and there was nothing there, but now suddenly there's something there. It was image 22 or something, he said, but hasn't come out. You know, it took him a long time after reviewing that data. And the question that he dodged in the last interview, not the last interview, it's the same interview, but in video 4 of my series of sort of going, you know, looking at this question and answer, Luke tried to pin him down to when he actually, you know, the dates that he realized those images were more than he had originally thought. He never answered that question. So yeah, that'd be a good question to ask. What was the date that you realized, you know, that you suddenly were going through this data again, I would imagine, because he went through it all at the beginning and saw nothing. And then at some point later on, he went through the data and thought, oh, hang on a minute. That is Nicola. The day that he said it to his wife, that's Nicole Bulley. When was that? Was that in March? Was that in April? It must have been before the inquest, I presume, because he said he was holding on to that information until he got called to the inquest. But when? And why did he not send it to the coroner then, before the inquest? No point in sending it to the coroner in September after the inquest has already taken place, really, is it?
So we went up to the bench. We then done a U-turn.
And for him to say, sorry, he can't say, oh, well, he was expecting to be called and he was going to present his evidence then. You can't do that. You can't do that in an inquest. The coroner has to know. It's like in a court case, isn't it? You have to present your evidence before to say, I'm going to present this, I'm going to present that. It might not go public knowledge, but the coroner would have to know, you know, about this. You can't just on the day of the inquest say, oh, by the way, I've got this, and it changes the whole thing. You've got to present it before. He knows that. He knows how coroners you know, inquest work, and I know that for a fact because I researched that before the inquest, that the coroner has to, he calls his witnesses, he knows the evidence it's going to be presented, he had it all organized, so that evidence should have been sent to the coroner. If it would have been sent to the coroner in May and the coroner would have ignored it, he's got a point, but there's no point in sending it him in September. What's he going to do with it then?
And so on the way up, I detected a sort of some branches on the way up and a tree laying down up near the bench. And we done a U-turn. We come back down, and then suddenly on the way back down, and I can see the track of the boat, boom, massive target, like 2 arms sticking out. Or it could have been 2 legs at the time. And it was a shadow.
Hang on. So he's saying 2 arms sticking out. Didn't he say she was in a fetal position, lay on her side? How's that gone from 2 arms stretching out to a fetal position on her side? You know, they are 2 completely different positions. And if he saw arms out like that, that sounds more like twigs, doesn't it, or whatever? That's a definite conflict in what he said. He said she was in a fetal position, facing away, facing into the river, didn't he? He said that in video 1, I think.
It was cast. And I said to Ollie, that's her. Straight away, I said to Chris on the back, that's her. Stop, turn me around, Ollie. And then we done another turn on it, and then we done another turn on it. And then you see the boat in the media were there. And then I'm making a call at that stage. I'm WhatsApping, and I'm making a call. 10:50. So I started the search at 10:28 that morning. 6 minutes later, at 10:34, I located Nicola. 6 minutes. Okay, without
6 minutes. Yeah,
6 minutes. 6 minutes.
Thank you, Sarah. Go on, mate.
I sent that to the police search advisor.
I'm just wondering why that wasn't picked up by Luke there, really, because, well, to be honest, he's probably had enough by now and he's just thinking, I want to get off this now. But yeah, he said she was in a fetal position. Now he's just said that there were arms stretched out. So I think if I would have been doing that interview, I would have said, oh, well, I thought she was in a fetal position. That's why Pete would never ask me to do an interview with him, because you would have to say it, wouldn't you? Because it is a conflict. It is a contradiction. So anyway, it wasn't picked up.
There was a sergeant on WhatsApp, which I've got all the records, which again I've provided. There's nothing hidden here. And then 10:27, and then 10:53, I sent it to him. Then I requested that we put our divers in the water. He said, no, you're not, we'll dive it. So he sent their divers and they turned just after lunch.
Which is fair enough, because he is a civilian and he had to send police down. But there was a period of time, of course, before they got there. So Nicola, whether she was fetal position or arms up like that, you know, pay your money, take your choice, that like everything else in this case. She could have moved if she had been there, I suppose. Just makes you even more want to see these sonar images, because was it the fetal position or was it the arms up in the air? I don't know. Was it just twigs? I personally think it was just twigs. I don't think the police didn't find anything there because there was nothing there.
I then carried on up the river to steer the emphasis away from the media, so they didn't know what was going on because they didn't put a marker. And then they come back through my dive supervisor. They said there's nothing there, and I've gone and seen it can't be nothing because shadows aren't cast for nothing. So I thought, okay, so we carried on upriver doing sonar, and it's all again, it's all time date stamped. So we carried on upriver, and I thought nothing more of it. And I said to Ollie, take me back down the river. I'm not quite happy with this. I really want to re-sonar that area. So we re-sonared that area, and I got the same target again, number of targets. And I came back and I went home that night.
Hang on. So he said, so we went back down the river and I got the same target again, a number of targets. I think we've got to go back a bit here because I'm not happy about these arms in the air.
Called heart damage.
Let's see.
Some really nice comments.
Boris and everybody. You bottom, I mean, you could see everything on the bottom near enough. And the sonar had to be pulled up, pulled down, and we could see there was nothing there. We got all the way to Cartford, and in the end, we got grounded out. We had to haul the boat up the bank, and we had a few laughs because Chris got his feet stuck in the mud, and it was just awful. And that was the end of the first day. And I went back and I said, there's nothing there. There was nothing in that lower part of the river found. And the thing is with sonar, I want to explain to her, I cannot be making any of this up because everything is timed. They turned just after lunch. I then carried on up the river to steer the emphasis away from the media, so they didn't know what was going on because they didn't put a marker. And then they come back through my dive supervisor. They said there's nothing there, and I've gone and seen it can't be nothing because shadows aren't cast for nothing. So I thought, okay, so we carried on upriver doing sonar, and it's all again, it's all time date stamped. So we carried on upriver, and I thought nothing more of it. And I said to Ollie, take me back down the river. I'm not quite happy with this. I really want to re-sonar that area. So we re-sonared that area, and I got the same target again, number of targets. And
so the number of targets, he says again. So it's talking about a number of targets. Let me know what you think. It's odd, isn't it? Let's get. I want to go back to the arms in the air.
Farmhouse at her farm. I think
that's pretty quick, to be fair.
No, that was all right. Just a quick wee. I found. And the thing is with sonar, I want to explain to her, I cannot be making any of this up.
Sorry,
because everything farmhouse at her farm. I think
that's pretty quick, to be fair.
No, that was all right. Just a quick wee. I think yeah, where were we? So we got there, and sadly there was no control of the media, and I ended up getting things. So we started the first day. Our job by the police was not my preferred preference because I wanted to search the hot zone. They tasked us with searching downriver from the weir down to Cartford Bridge, which I think was about 3.27 miles, if I recall, on the report. When we noted as we went down, the tide had gone out. It was extremely shallow, and the tide was going out, and it was getting lower and lower. And we could see the bottom. I mean, you could see everything on the bottom near enough. And the sonar was had to be pulled up, pulled down, and we could see there was nothing there. We got all the way to Cartford, and in the end, we got grounded out. We had to haul the boat up a bank, and we had a few laughs because Chris got his feet stuck in the mud, and it was just awful. And that was the end of the first day. And I went back and I said, "There's nothing there. There was nothing in that lower part of the river." I could see it. As the team drive me down the river, I'm looking at the screen, and it's feeding down in front of me, and I can see every footprint, I can see every rock, I can see every stone, and there's nothing there. That was clear. Day 2, we then were tasked, searching upriver from the bench. Now,
didn't he say that he found her within 6 minutes? So he actually didn't find her within 6 minutes, because we're talking about the second day now anyway that he was there. So that's not within 6 minutes of arriving on the scene.
I was inquisitive, so they wanted us to go upriver from the bench up to the caravan park. I mean, bearing in mind we probably weren't wanted there.
See, a lot of the time he just does what he wants, doesn't it? That's several times he said, "Oh, well, I was inquisitive, I went off to do that." He didn't do what the police wanted him to do. So of course they got annoyed with him. It's like the digging up the tree trunk. But okay.
I said to the team, "Right, take me down towards the weir. We're going to start. We're going to come up from the bench." Cheers, anyway.
Cheers. I've only got water.
No, I've got a whiskey and my second one, but it is late, so I think I deserve a whiskey. So we came up river, and so what we did, we circled around. We put the sonar fish in the water on the corner down towards the weir. Near the weir, it's quite shallow. So then we lower the towfish in the water, and then Wally then moved around. I said, "Right, let's keep going. And we didn't start. And then I sort of started the timer at 10:28. We chugged up river about 1.2 knots in speed, 1.2 to 2 knots, slowly up the river towards the bench on the corner where, Nicola's phone was found. And the thing is with sonar, I'll explain to her, I cannot be making any of this up, because everything is time date stamped. It's what they call geolocated. So it shows where the boat is in the UK on the map, the exact time. It cannot be forged. It cannot be faked. Every file is sequenced. So it's all stored forever. And no one, and all the metadata can be looked at forensically, and you cannot change it. So people have said, "Oh, he's made this up." No, it's there on a computer. It cannot be changed, and they can analyze anything. So we went up to the bench. We then done a U-turn. So on the way up, I detected some branches on the way up and a tree laying down up near the bench, and we done a U-turn. We come back down, and then suddenly on the way back down, and I could see the track of the boat, boom, massive target, like 2 arms sticking out, or it could have been 2 legs at the time, and it was.
Now, somebody tell me I'm not imagining things there. 2 arms sticking up, or it could have been 2 legs at the time. Thought she was in a fetal position, Peter. So that is a direct contradiction. That makes me very uneasy, because he's actually holding his arms out, whereas before he was saying she was in a fetal position. And he could see the curvature of the body and things. That's how he felt it was a woman. This is a big difference. Or am I imagining it? You let me know. You tell me what you think. To me, this seems like a big difference between what he said earlier and what he's saying now.
It was a shadows cast. And I said to Ollie, "That's her." Straight away, I said to Chris on the back, "That's her. Stop, turn me around, Ollie." And then we done another turn on it, and then we done another turn on it, and then you see the boat in the media were there, and then I'm making a call at that stage. I'm WhatsApping, and I'm making a call. 10:50. So I started the search at 10:28 that morning. 6 minutes later, at 10:34, I located Nicola. 6 minutes. Okay, without
6 minutes.
6 minutes.
Yeah, Luke's not even listening, is he? But no, it's not true that he located her within 6 minutes on that day, but he'd been there the day before. And suddenly she's not in a fetal position. She's got her arms up in the air, or it could have been her legs. What happened to the fetal position?
It's 6 minutes.
Thank you, Sarah. Go on, mate.
I sent that to the police search advisor, who was a sergeant, on WhatsApp, which I've got all the records, which again I've provided. There's nothing hidden here. And then 10:27, and then at 10:53 I sent it to him. Then I requested that we put our divers in the water. He said, no, you're not, we'll dive it. So he sent their divers and they turned just after lunch. I then carried on up the river to steer the emphasis away from the media, so they didn't know what was going on because they didn't put a marker. And then they come back through my dive supervisor. They said, there's nothing there. And I've gone and seen, it can't be nothing because shadows aren't cast for nothing. So I thought, okay, so we carried on.
Yeah, that was the other strange thing. So Peter wasn't actually there. He heard through his dive supervisor, because remember, he said he went off in the boat like to lead the attention of the media away, which is fair enough. But I think, you know, the boat still could have gone away somewhere. Wouldn't it have been better if he would have put a marker down, if his team would have gone off up the river, made a bit of a kerfuffle and put a marker down somewhere else, while the police dove where they, you know, to mislead they could have even made a series of markers. So just to say to the media, look, we're just making a series of dives because there's a, you know, I don't know, this is the most likely place that she might be. If they put 5 markers down and his divers, you know, there's definitely a better way that all could have been done. But probably the fact that they don't, you know, they weren't on good terms, probably didn't help, because they didn't work together, did they? They didn't work together. But, you know, but I think the most significant thing for me is the fact that he said she was in a fetal position. Now suddenly she's got her arms or legs in the air.
On upriver doing sonar, and it's all, again, it's all time date stamped. So we carried on upriver, and I thought nothing more of it. And I said to Ollie, take me back down the river. I'm not quite happy with this. I really want to re-sonar that area. So we re-sonared that area, and I got the same target again, number of targets. And
number
I came back.
I
went home that night. I said to my wife, there's something not right here. I
don't know what he means by number of targets. I've got the same target again, a number of targets. What does that mean?
said, I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong on this.
He's never wrong.
So I went back the following morning and said, sorry, I want to research that area, and I want to put divers into the weir and search it. No.
Do you know, can you imagine if he went, so why is he talking to the police like that? He says they should have worked together, but and I went back the next morning and I said, I want to search that. And, you know, what is, if he took this attitude with the police, it's not going to go down well, is it? Why was he taking that attitude? I want to do that. He's like, I'm the king of sonar. My sonar's bigger than yours. You know, I'll show you my sonar if you show me yours. Just not good, is it? Just not good, because he did want to be the one who found Nicola. You know, show. Yeah, it's not good luck, Peter. That, sorry, but it isn't. With the best will in the world, that is not a good look. Throwing your weight about with the police because you're more important than them, according to you, because you're never wrong.
You're not doing that. We want you to go down the river today. And we looked at the river and we couldn't go down the river because the river was too shallow because the tide had gone out. So that was impossible. You could see the bottom, to be honest. So that made me a bit angry. It was just the way I was being treated. And then the family turned.
I bet he got really angry, don't you? So that made me a bit angry. I bet they were kicking off like mad there. You know, there was probably a lot of bad blood.
And I'm not going to name who turned up. Paul was there, but there was others, obviously sister and everyone.
Says, I'm not going to name who turned up. Well, Paul was there. He always says he's not going to do something, and then he does it. So that was, I don't think that was a fan. That was Emma, wasn't it? I never saw. Don't know about you. You might be able to tell me something different, but I watched a lot of videos and all the coverage, and I don't think I ever saw Louise at the Riverside. So did anybody see Louise at the Riverside? I think she was apparently in the church at some point, but was she ever filmed or photographed at the Riverside? Not as far as I know. So when he says the family, he means Paul and Emma, because I don't think Ernie and Dot ever turned up there. But somebody might know better than me on that, so let me know if you do.
And we in the back of our command unit, and they were pleading with something to be done. Paul was really bothered about them not searching the outbuildings in the village. He wanted the shed searched. He was literally in tears. And I know he won't mind me telling you this. And he said, I'm very frustrated. And he said, we can't search.
How do you know, Peter, that he won't mind you telling us that? That's an indiscretion again. Because Paul, whatever you think of him, he is Nicky's partner. We don't, I don't know what happened to Nicola, whether Paul was involved or not involved, or I don't know. And I have conflicting views with Paul, just like with everything else in this case. Your views change daily with all sorts of things. But at the end of the day, Peter said, I know he won't mind me saying this, but he obviously does mind him saying, because Paul and the rest of the family turned on Peter and called him a so-called expert. And they've cut him off, and they don't respond at all to his, they've blocked him. So, Peter, you're saying, how would you know that Paul wouldn't mind that? Paul, that's probably another reason why Paul won't ever speak to you again, because you're revealing, personal conversations, and you are a professional.
Search without a warrant. And that's when I said, those who didn't hear earlier, of course you can. You just need to ask. Just go and knock on the door. We've done it so many times working with the police, like the Jenna Baldwin case in Wales when I worked on that. You just go and knock on doors and people let you in. Most right-thinking people, great British public, will go, certainly, let the police in.
Now, according to Rebecca Smith at the press conference that she did, she said the caravan park had, I presume, I don't know if he's meaning by the outbuildings. Where does he mean exactly? I'm not sure. But if he means anything to do with the caravan park, as far as Rebecca Smith was concerned, she said they had been as helpful as possible. They couldn't have been more helpful. So, yeah, so he's interjecting himself again with things that he doesn't really know about.
And we'll assist you. And of course you can search my shed, no problem at all.
Yeah.
A load of old junk in there, but we got nothing to hide. The first person who said, no, you can't search my shed, then you go and get a warrant for.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he knows it all, doesn't he, about the police? Well, there's a case at the moment, isn't there, where there's someone who murdered someone a long, long time ago wants to help now the family find the body of the lady. I think it was 40 odd years ago. And but the farmer or the owner of the land, he's been offered £45,000 to allow the police to search. And he won't, so people are funny. They don't always let you, and it doesn't always mean they're guilty of anything. So apparently in that case now, they are trying to get the police. They've searched it already. They've searched a little part of it already, and the farmer or the owner did allow them to do that. And now, though, they still haven't found this lady's body, and it's her poor daughter who just wants, to get her mum, be able to give her a funeral. And but the guy who owns this land, he's refusing, even for £45,000. he won't allow the land to be dug up because it's probably very invasive for him. So they are trying to get some sort of a warrant, but I expect it's difficult because they don't know. It's not because he's got anything to do with it. I suppose if they suspected he was the actual perpetrator, it'd be easier to get a warrant. But to get a warrant to do it when, you know, the owner is refusing, he hasn't done anything wrong, must be quite difficult. But it's just the glib way that Pete says, oh, well, you just knock on the door and they just let you in, and if they don't, you go and get a warrant. Again, those sort of glib, flippant comments will not have gone down well with the police.
And then Paul was pleading with them. Anyway, that didn't happen. Then he said, I want to do a press conference. I want you to update the media. I want your senior people down. And then I said, I need your senior. And that's when they accused me in the report that not the College of Police, and I want to make this clear, but Lancashire Police accused me of trying to get a photo opportunity. As if I hadn't have had enough photo. I'm not George Clooney. Do you know what I mean? No photo.
As if Peter would try and get a photo opportunity. He never does that, does he? Oh my God, he was all over the media. He was on every programme, news programme, everything. He was on everything. So it's no point in him trying to make out that he shies away from publicity. He does not.
Opportunities here. All I want, I say, look at my social media feeds. There is no photo opportunities on there. I don't do selfies. I don't want to do selfies. I certainly don't want to be photographed myself. And it was the misleading statements again. Wasn't happening. And in the end, he said, we'll come back to you. The sergeant then went away on annual leave, and that was recorded. And he never came back to me, and no senior.
Yeah, that was a problem. I mean, they were crap. I mean, they were crap. I'm not saying the Lancashire Police were rubbish. They were. But, you know, I'm just so I think they were all rubbish, to be honest. I don't think Peter's come out of this shining.
Your officer turned up. It was a disaster. No press office, nothing. And by this time, this is why there's nothing to do with me. They blamed me in the report, but the speculation was increasing because the police did not brief the public what was going on. There should have been a daily or every 2-day press conference. You say in 2 days we will update the.
Agreed, he's right. But then it wasn't for him to fill that gap. He filled that gap voluntarily.
All it needed was a quick briefing to say, sorry, we're still searching. We got people in the water. We're doing this. We're doing that and doing all we can. That's all it needs. And the public go, well done, Lancashire Police. Great job. You're trying. That's all it needed. But don't kick the little guy, because I was the little guy and I was the easy target to be blamed for this whole debacle, really. And
well, not really, Peter, because you bigged yourself up as the Sonar expert. You're never wrong. You're the best thing since sliced bread. So you weren't really the little guy.
Like David and Goliath.
It was David and Goliath, and it still is. And then obviously the case went from there.
David and Goliath, and remember who won? David won, not Goliath.
We left the scene, and in the report it said Mr. Faulding continued to search on the 9th. Actually, we'd already left. We left on the morning of the 9th. We weren't searching. We went. Okay. So the report was wrong. We weren't searching on the 9th. They said they sent an officer down.
That's interesting. So he says they weren't searching on the 9th, but I need to look at the police report and see, just confirm that they do say that. In fact, I might have a look at that now, so I've got it here somewhere. Oh gosh, it'll take me too long, but I will have a look. We need to get through this interview now. But yeah, if they said that, then he says he left on the 9th. Well, that's wrong, isn't it? Another thing that's wrong.
Down to brief me about my media hand. No, they didn't. He didn't. He just said, "Oh, we treated you." That's all he said. And this is all recorded at the police meeting. So lots of inaccuracies within the in the report. And me about digging holes. That was I showed you the pictures earlier, and I'll show you again because I really want to just explain this.
Well, there might be somebody. There's probably let me just say quickly. I just want to thank Paula for a super chat. If I can't read them, I do want to thank you for them. So thank you to Paula.
So they blame me for digging holes, and there's been a few trolls. So Faulding just went out and dug holes in the river. This is an area that I identified. Now you may look at that. Can you see that, Luke?
Keep it up.
This is so funny because this is what he brought up before, this photo of the tree stump with all the stuff around it. But it probably does look like, so it's probably been searched. So of course it looks like somebody's been around it or whatever. It'll have been searched. He's there over a week later. Just funny the way he brings it up again, like a stick drug. I wonder it wasn't a cartoon.
As it is, yeah, we can see that.
Right, you may look at that as a tree stump. I look at that something's out of place because of all that undergrowth in front of it, that plus what shouldn't really be there, piled up. So I identify that as a potential problem site.
It's funny how he's showing that and talking. Luke's not interested. He's doing something else on his iPad.
No, then what I done then. Now in the report they said I went digging holes. No, I didn't. This is what I done. I found an area of disturbed ground and followed the cut marks.
Wow.
And showed the police. The police come over and told me to stop digging, go away, leave it alone. And they told me to fill it back in. Now, normally they would say, thank you for that, Peter.
No, Peter, because you should have gone to the police and said, look, this looks a little bit suspicious. Shall I dig it up? You can't just go off doing your own thing. I do agree with the police there, because that can interfere. If that would have been, imagine if he would have found something of Nicola's there or Nicola herself. It just would have been a nightmare when it came to court, that he'd interfered with it.
What we'll do, get the area taped off. And I say there is a thing called technical, which I'm not going to go into. And they should have told me if that was the particular situation. And they walked away and left it. But they told me to fill it in and never heard anything more about them. And then they accused me in the report of actually digging holes and telling the police that the family that there was a body buried there. No way. So if you look at the report, it's very intent on blaming me again. And again, the senior officer who advised me on this, he said, this was an inquiry into Lancashire Police's handling of the case. It was not about Peter Faulding. And a lot of the focus is about, it's so easy to target a little man.
No, but it was about the case, Peter. So you had to be brought into it because you were out there say what you say. So is what Peter's saying, that if they wouldn't have mentioned him at all in this review, maybe he would not have come out with that statement that he had this target that 1 minute was in a fetal position, the next minute had its hands in the air. Is that what he's saying? Is it just because he was mentioned? But I think they had to mention him, just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm not siding with the police, but because some of the accusations accused at them, thrown at them, were about the things that Peter was involved with. So, I don't know. Oh, what a mess.
But I'll tell you now, and I'm not being arrogant here.
No.
I've got far more experience in search than anyone.
It's not being arrogant. It's never being arrogant, never. Ooh, arrogant, Peter? No, never.
On that case. Anyone on that case. I've done far more searches than any of them people.
I've done far more searches than any of them people, but I'm not arrogant.
And I've got far more experience than any of them,
Respect.
And I've got far more experience, but I'm not police. I'm not dishing the police. I've got all respect for the police. He keeps saying that, and then he dishes them.
I'm not going to wear that. I'm not going to wear them hammering me for my, lack of experience. So I got a message. Yeah.
Well, just one.
I don't think they were hammering him for his lack of experience. I think they were hammering him for not doing what they told him to do. When he wasn't invited there by the police, he was invited there by the family, and he was allowed to come because the family blackmailed the police into having him there, because he said otherwise they would release a negative press. Really, I think that personally, I think both Peter and the police have been played in this case.
But one moment, just want to thank Bossa Nova Baby, Paul Taylor, and Lizzie Bell for their super chats. I do see them. As you know, I can't be. There's a lot going on.
So,
I can't be reading them all. I do appreciate them. I appreciate all the likes. We've had 1,054.
Yep.
Quite a lot. There's 1,454 people in here.
wow.
I heard the turkey. I'm sure a few people thought they heard a turkey then, but maybe it's a bit late for the turkey.
No, you didn't hear a turkey now.
I thought I heard a turkey.
No, that was it really, and I think that sort of wraps. I think there's no. All I'm going to say is it would be nice if Lancashire Police acknowledged that they got it wrong, but the Police and Crime Commissioner, Mr. Snowden, come out of the report the other day and started the police inquiry with Andy Marsh from the.
Still 20 minutes to go.
Who's ex-Avon and Somerset Police, so I met years ago. Rabbiting on as how well they did, and I'm thinking, mate, and I'm not knocking the detectives here, because there was probably thousands of hours of great work done by detectives.
Keeps saying he's not knocking anyone, but he is. Everything he says is knocking the police.
I'm not knocking that, but please don't hammer the little man. Literally, don't hammer him into the ground, because just trying to help. That's the sad thing about this case. They've literally picked on me. Now, I hope, Chief Constable, you're going to watch.
Peter, the sad thing about this case is not that they've picked on you. The sad thing about this case is that a mother of 2 little girls lost her life in mysterious circumstances that we still don't really know the whole truth. And you came out just before Christmas saying all this when they're, that is the sad thing about this case. The sad thing about this case is not what's happened to you. The sad thing about this case is what happened to Nicola. He's not mentioned Nicola very often, or her girls, or how tragic it is, or how it needs reopening, or he's not interested in that at all. He's only interested in his reputation, how he's never wrong, how he always gets it. The police have done this to him, done that to him. That's what's sad about this case, Peter. The death of Nicole Bulley, and the fact that those 2 girls, for whatever reason, now do not have a mother to grow up with. That's the sad thing. So stop bleating about yourself and start feeling sorry for Nicola and her girls.
This tonight and go, this guy's actually a decent man. Why have we hammered him? Why have we not actually admitted, then gone, maybe we got this a bit wrong here and there? But Mr. Snowden comes out gleaming. This was the first-class inquiry, the first-class search. No.
I don't think that he does come out gleaming, does he? We don't think he's gleaming. We don't think, even, those of us that either like Peter or don't like Peter, or whoever, thinks we all have our own opinions about what Peter's doing. I don't think any of us, there's not many, nobody is going to come on my chat and said, oh, the police were fantastic. They did a fantastic job. They haven't come out gleaming at all. And I know some of the things they said on that report were critical of themselves. I think they did learn a lot of lessons, but yeah, they did. There were some things that they said, and I think what they meant was, because I do think those first couple of days they were quick searching. There were people out there. There were all sorts of different forces, but they did not find her, and that is the reason why I genuinely do not think she was there. That's how I feel. Everyone said, even Paul said he didn't. It's definitely not the river. Now, whether that was because of what Peter had said, I don't know. But yeah. So I don't think they've come out gleaming, Peter. I don't think anybody would honestly know. Well, certainly nobody that ever comes on my chat or comments has said, oh, yeah, the police did a fantastic job. Nobody has said that.
It wasn't a first-class search because you missed her.
Says
yeah,
it.
That's the fact. And I've got the images. The beauty of it, I've got the images. And I will show, like I said, I am writing to the Home Secretary with this in the new year.
In the new year, in the new year, in the new year.
And we will get this opened. And then eventually, I don't want public inquiries, but we want to acknowledge that actually I was not wrong. I was right.
See that? Now, for those of you, I know there are people out there, you love Peter. Listen to his own words. Not bothered about a public inquiry. I just want it acknowledged that I was right. That's what he said. That's him saying that, not me. Let's listen to that again.
No, you didn't hear a turkey now.
I thought I heard a turkey.
No, that was it really, and I think that sort of wraps. You know, I think there's no in the summer.
Sorry.
No, you didn't hear a turkey now.
I thought I heard a turkey.
No, that was it really, and I think that sort of wraps. You know, I think there's no. All I'm going to say is it would be nice if Lancashire Police acknowledged that they got it wrong, but the Police and Crime Commissioner, Mr. Snowden, come out on the report the other day and start.
I'm surprised he didn't call him Mr. Snowman. I bet he's seen that a few. I bet he was tempted.
Started the police inquiry with Andy Marsh from who's ex-Avon and Somerset Police, so I met years ago. Rabbiting on as how well they did, and I'm thinking, mate, and I'm not knocking the detectives here because there was probably thousands of hours of great work done by detectives. I'm not knocking that, but please don't hammer the little man. Literally, don't hammer him into the ground because just trying to help. That's the sad thing about this case. They've literally picked on me. Now, I hope, Chief Constable, you're going to watch this tonight and go, this guy's actually a decent man. Why have we hammered him? Why have we not actually admitted, then gone, maybe we got this a bit wrong here and there? But Mr. Snowden comes out gleaming. This was the first-class inquiry, the first-class search. No, it wasn't a first-class search because you missed her.
Yeah.
That's the fact. And I've got the images. The beauty of it, I've got the images. And
it wasn't a first-class search because you missed her. Do you know, is it just me? But him saying that, I just think, how dare you really? What a brass face he's got to say that. He missed her as well. If she was in there. I personally don't think she was in there. I don't think either of them missed her. But there you go. That's what he's saying. You missed her.
I will show, like I said, I am writing to the Home Secretary with this in the new year. And we will get this opened. And then eventually, I don't want public inquiries, but
I don't want public inquiries. Now listen, please listen to what Peter's saying here.
We want to acknowledge that actually I was not wrong.
We want to acknowledge that actually I was not wrong. That is what Peter wants. Doesn't want a public inquiry, doesn't want the case reopening. He just wants it known that he was not wrong.
I was right.
I was right.
And we all need to move forward rather than bicker at each other.
And we all need to move forward rather than bicker at each other. So I need to be put back on that list so that I can get back doing, earning loads of money from the police.
We're not achieving nothing.
Well,
we're
not achieving nothing. Slurp.
Well said, Peter. Well said.
Yeah, I think what will happen this year is during the summer, more people will go missing in rivers. And what will happen, SGI, the police won't be able to find them. SGI will get called. We will go to assist families because once they've been missing a few days, unfortunately, the police don't have control of the operation. If rivers are public, we can search a river, but we don't want to fall out with the police. We just want to assist the families, work alongside the police in harmony, and go, SGI, thanks very much for coming in. Now, the police report thanks the volunteers.
So he's just said there that rivers are public. We can go and search a river. So why did he leave? Why did he leave St. Michael's when he'd seen that target and he was convinced that there was somebody there and this, that and the other? Even though he first said it was in the fetal position, now he seems to be saying it had the target had its arms stretched up. If it was Nicola, what can't be both in the fetal position and with its arms stretched up? do you see the conflict there? It's weird, I think, how he's completely contradicting what he said about the fetal position. And then he's saying, well, look, rivers are public and we can search rivers. But then before he was saying they should have cordoned it off. Well, come on, what's, say one thing or another, not conflicting things.
Volunteer search teams, they never thank me. They just criticise me, my team. And you've got the top team in the country here, and we get criticised.
The top team in the country.
That's sad. Why?
Hopefully things can change with how search is done in the future.
Well,
Hopefully
it should be. It should be. And I think that's all we want from this is to improve the search. And there was if the viewers Google the Kylie Rodney search, this was another one in America recently.
Yeah, this was an American case where the police did not find the girl in the car. It's a very suspicious case as well, because I think it might be one of those where they're saying there's no suspicious circumstance, but it seems that there might be. But again, deserves a whole video. I can't go into it. But this was in a huge lake, but she was found very close to the slope, as if, to me, it felt like somebody had rolled the car down the slope, or either she's driven it in there to take her own life, or somebody has done something nefarious to her, put her in the car, rolled it down the slope. But yeah, the police did not find her, and a private team went down there and they did find her in the car. So yeah, he's right there.
Where the police spent hundreds of hours searching a reservoir for a missing girl in a car. They couldn't find her. And a volunteer rescue team come in called Adventures with Purpose. You see it.
Sorry, it was a reservoir, not a lake. I knew it wasn't a river. But it was a huge reservoir.
I don't know these guys. I want to make it very clear. And they came in and they found her still in the car, only like 50 meters from the bank.
Yeah, they found her very
with their
close
sonar
to the bank.
And everybody else missed them. But the police over there acknowledged the beauty of the police over there. They acknowledged that the search team found her.
Yeah, they acknowledged it because they actually did find her, Peter. But no, you haven't, you have not proven that you found her. So for you to get acknowledged as finding her, you do have to prove that you did find her. So maybe if you've sent the sonar images off to the government or whatever, maybe they will acknowledge that you found her. But until you actually do that, don't send them to YouTubers and psychics and show them to paramedics and police officers that show them to the right people. Maybe you will get acknowledged, but you've got to do that first.
Over here, they hammer you because they can't be seen to be wrong. How wrong is that?
Yeah.
Why can't we just admit?
I don't agree with that. I'm sorry, I do not agree with that. It's not they don't want to admit that they were wrong. They were not wrong. You haven't provided any evidence yet. Provide the evidence and maybe you'll get a different response.
Failings and go, maybe, that's what I was hoping the College of Policing would come out and say when I read the letter to you, Al. And I, I read it earlier, quite a sad letter that you just admit your failings. And the public, and I think let's have a hands up for this if you agree, that if you admit your failings, the public's faith in the police will be restored a lot if we just admit things and say maybe we got it wrong.
Let's see.
So the public trust in the police will be restored if everyone says that Peter was right. Of course it will.
Let's see in this chat now.
Yeah, let's see. I mean, who agrees with that? I mean, I think people will go, yeah, let's admit our failings sometimes, and then it can come out and we can get it right.
In other
Well,
words,
Peter, I think that we've done it's 100 and 93 minutes, which is crazy. Probably the longest live I've ever done.
Yeah.
Is there anything final you want to say? Because obviously, like this, you know, you don't want this to consume your life forever.
No, I don't.
Is there any final statement you want to say to people here now?
I just want Lancashire Police to ring me and say, look, Peter, write to me and say, can we have a meeting? We want to bury the hatchet here.
Yeah, he just wants to bury the hatchet with the police and go back to how he was before. So he really is not trying to do anything for Nicola, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, but he isn't.
And, you know, I want some recognition as to what I did rather than just be hammered for fame.
I want recognition. It's all what I want. What I want the recognition. You know, he's not saying that, and meantime, he's putting, you know, showing these images of somebody's dead daughter and mother around anybody, any of his mates, and not sending them to the right people. Just because he wants this. It's, I want this. I'm right. I'm the best. Peter, this is not a good look for you. I'm sure that you've done I know that you've done lots of good things, but why are you so consumed with yourself? It's all about you. You know, this is an ego. Right from the beginning, I said it, and I'll say it again. It's all a battle of egos, and Nikki has been lost in the whole process.
Failing in a search, and I took the blame for failing in the search, and I didn't, because I found Nicola. I've got the images, and
I took the blame for failing in the search, but I didn't, and I've got the images. But you told everybody she wasn't there. It's just crazy. It's like living in some sort of parallel universe. You know, this whole case has been from the start. It's like, is he not even aware of what he's saying? You know, and I know a lot of you support him, but can you not see that this is not right, what he's saying? Anyway, everyone's entitled to their thoughts and views. And I don't hate Peter, but I don't understand why he's doing this. Well, I do understand why he's doing it. He's doing it to salvage his reputation. That's the whole point behind it. If he hadn't been slammed in the College of Policing review, he would never have done that interview with Luke in the first place. You would never have heard a peep from him again. He's doing this because of what was said about him in the College of Policing review. It's his response.
Eventually I'm going to go and have to do a press conference in a closed room with the media to say, I'm still being blamed. I'm not going to wear this anymore, with the experts, say, here she is. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that, because it's not what I'm about.
No, so really this is almost a threat, isn't it? Because what he's saying is he's going to have to go and do a press conference. In other words, he's going to have to take these pictures and sell them to the papers or give them to his mates in media or whatever. I think what he's basically saying there, it sounds like to me, is he's saying to the police, if you don't, you know, exonerate me, if you don't sort of, you know, make it up with me, it's like, you know, it's like so, you know, he's been in a relationship with someone and they've let him down, and he's like, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. That's basically what he's saying.
It's not, when I'm saying a media conference, I'm not talking go in front of the media and say, here's Nicole Bulley, but it's more of a closed conference to say, don't knock me, gentlemen, because I am not wrong here.
Peter, one second, mate.
Don't knock me, gentlemen. Of course, they'll all be men, won't they? That's according to him. So what if he's not going to go where they can actually show it in the what's the point of even doing it then? You know, what is the point? So you're just going to go and show a load of media people and then someone will leak it out? Is that what you're hoping for? So it'll seem like it's not you who's leaked it out. This is very bizarre, I think. Very bizarre of Peter, you know, saying these things. Probably the whiskey talking. Hopefully the whiskey talking. No wonder this video came down.
So I've had it a few times now. Someone said, I don't know if you didn't explain it before, but I've seen it a few times.
Go on.
You said you would explain why you thought she was there all along in the river.
No, in what part? When I say what? When I thought
No,
she
like,
was...
I suppose from the 27th to the 19th, do you believe that she was in the river the whole time?
Yes, I do. I believe she was in the river.
Right.
I don't believe that Nicola...
Oh, he doesn't, because you see, look, watch him when he says that. He touches his ear, he touches his nose, he's very uncomfortable. It's not true what he's saying, and anyway, that wasn't what he said at the time.
It can come out and we can get it right.
Well, Peter, I think that we've done, it's 193 minutes,
Good God.
which is crazy. Probably the longest live I've ever done.
Yeah.
Is there anything final you want to say? Because obviously, like this, you know, you don't want this to consume your life forever.
No, I don't.
Is there any final statement you want to say to people here now?
I just want Lancashire Police to ring me and say, look, Peter, write to me and say, can we have a meeting? We want to bury the hatchet here. And, you know, I want some recognition as to what I did rather than just be hammered for failing in a search. And I took the blame for failing in the search, and I didn't, because I found Nicola. I've got the images, and eventually I'm going to go and have to do a press conference in a closed room with the media to say, I'm still being blamed. I'm not going to wear this anymore, with the experts say, here she is. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that, because it's not what I'm about. It's not, when I'm saying a media conference, I'm not talking go out in front of the media and say, here's Nicole Bulley, but it's more of a closed conference to say, don't knock me, gentlemen, because I am not wrong here.
Peter, one second, mate. So I've had it a few times now. Someone said, I don't know if you didn't explain it before, but I've seen it a few times. You said you would explain why you...
What's his reaction when Luke asked him this question?
Why you thought she was there all along in the river?
No. In what part? When I say what? When I thought
no, I suppose from the 27th to the 19th, do you believe that she was in the river the whole time?
Yes, I do. I believe she was in the river.
Right.
I don't believe that Nicola was taken out or murdered somewhere or whatever.
Probably.
Obviously, she had injuries. I know. And I'm not a coroner. I'm not gonna doctor. I'm not gonna get into that. It's not my area. But I think Nicola got into the river between the bench and where I located her at some stage. Whether she was, whether she fell down the bank, I personally don't believe that. Whether she was chased, whether she was pushed, or whatever, she's gone in the river between the bench and...
Yeah, so he is, he also says not commenting, but he didn't want to comment on her injuries, fair enough. Now, he's been there, as I've been there. Anyone who has been there will tell you it's very difficult to believe that she fell in there by accident. Virtually impossible, I would say, that she fell in by accident. She would have had to be right on the edge for whatever reason. So personally, I can't see that she fell in there by accident. Whether someone was chasing her, whether she jumped in, whether someone pushed her in, I think all those are possible. Though I still don't go by the jumped in just because of the dog, but I know people do things like that. So, but to me, they are the most logical. Pushed in, never there in the first place, or jumped in herself. But I think that's a low probability as well. So I'm resting with the either she wasn't there or somebody pushed her in or chased her and she fell in. Don't think she fell in by accident. But even that, the chased in and that, why did nobody see anything? It's like there's anyway. Let's see what he goes on to say.
Where she was found, where I found her, not where she was found eventually, and she's laid on the bottom there. And I think that, well, I know that eventually she's floated up, and the police have even agreed in the report that on the 19th, it was the highest spring tide, and the water has flooded up over the weir. And this is what I said to my wife, but I never said that. I think she's floated up and just drifted down. But the water has come gushing over the top of the weir. It's flooded the river to the bench. Real water levels have risen. It's kicked Nicola up off the bottom because she's become buoyant. And then it's carried her down the stream. And that's why the police knew. The police knew all along that she was there and she was going to get carried over.
Well, the police always said she was there. And this again comes back to my point that I don't believe that they would have left. They would have loved to have brought her up, and been proved right earlier, whether it was Peter who found her or not. She was not there, or they could not find her there where he said she was. Now, they had said that, because some experts had said to them that was the most likely weekend that she would, become buoyant, and then the spring tide, and that. He's right, but I still think she would have been found on the first day or the first couple of days. Why not, if she was right there? And whether his sonar is better than theirs, but they've still got sonar. They searched it. Everybody was there searching it. So I don't feel this contributes anything, personally. It makes no difference to the whole fact of how did Nicola end up there in the first place. And it just causes distress. There's no need to say it. This has just caused distress, I would imagine, to the family to think that she was it caused distress to us to think she was just left there and when she could have been brought out earlier, which obviously wouldn't have saved her, but it would have been better. So there's no reason for this either, because there's no positive. It's not contributing to any change in this case except for proving him right.
The weir, I know that. They knew she was there and she was going to get carried over the weir, and then she would get carried down, then she was found. And that's where she was found, because the police helicopters were up the day before looking. Right. They knew. They've even said it in the report that on that day, the 19th and 20th was the highest tides. And if she was going to pop up, that
the police helicopters were up the day before looking, but they didn't see her. So, was she, when was she there anyway?
That's where she was going to pop up. And isn't it strange that I found her there, they denied there's a target there, and now all of a sudden she's got washed over the weir and now she's been found. Exactly matches my story.
Well, they're not denying that he said he saw a target there. They're denying that they're saying, are you calling the police? They're saying they searched the area thoroughly many times and she was not there.
Nothing's changed.
Well, I'm sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying that, if people troll me and accuse me of this, trying to get, I'm not about publicity, but I'm a great believer in getting the truth out there for people, because it cannot ever happen again.
Yeah.
It cannot ever happen again. And I want to make that clear. We never charged this family for nothing. It cost me thousands of pounds in costs. Emma kindly put us up. I paid for my own hotel. I paid for my own helicopter fuel. I paid for my own, which was probably, get hundreds of pounds in helicopter fuel.
We shouldn't have gone on the helicopter.
My time, I'm a busy person running a big company. Then you got all my specialist team up there. And then coming back to clean all the kit has taken a day or two. It's not just a matter of turning back up and then just throwing the kit. All our kits are immaculate. It's all got to be unrolled. It's got to be blown up. Yeah. It's got to be cleaned. It's got to be repacked, reserviced before we get deployed again. So there's a lot to this. And I think this is where I just wish.
I agree.
I just wish for.
But, he did it. He's had a lot of publicity from it. And he's had a lot of publicity from it right from the beginning. And most of it was positive. He's had nothing but positive publicity from the public until he came up with this, I think.
People in the UK that Lancashire Police and the College of Police can say, Peter, do you know what? Let's bury the hatchet here. Let's all get together, sit around the table, and let's work a strategy out. The way forward is how you guys can help out in the future if we get a person. Obviously, I wouldn't talk to the media, but let's work it out so we can help families.
Do you think he almost admitted then, almost, I don't think he said he's sorry for it. He had, when Luke said, do you wish you hadn't spoke to the media? And he did say yes, but the police didn't stop me. He's never actually said, I'm very sorry that I ever spoke to the media. He's blamed it on the police why he spoke to the media, because they didn't stop him.
Across the UK. And what people don't see is every summer, I got my own life jacket charity, the Lucas Dobson Water Safety Campaign, where I fly my helicopter to schools, give life jackets out of my own money to kids, in primary school kids, and do water safety talks with them. Free of charge. I do this off my own back on water safety because I see so many drownings, me and my team, so many drownings that we have to deal with.
Yeah, he is. He has done a lot of help to drowning victims. A lot of families are grateful to him. Needs a documentary in itself, doesn't it, really, to look into Peter.
And, all these trolls who are trolling me, you go and do that. You go and spend your own money buying life jackets. If I was a fake person, I would not be giving life jackets to schools, flying in my own time when I run a multi-million-pound company, and then try to help.
He's a bit of a virtue signaler as well, isn't he? Because though you trolls go and do it, but you do it because you want to do it. It does give you publicity as well. He's like, I don't really like virtue signalers because when people, I respect people like George Michael, who gave so much money to charity and did so many things, but swore them to secrecy about it. And you have to go on and say, look, I've donated this, I've done that. As far as I'm concerned with charities, what I donate to charity is, I'm not going to come on and go, look at me, I'm donating this money to such and such. This is like telling everyone what a brilliant person you are, but I'm sure he is a good person. Maybe I'm being unfair. Sorry, I'm probably being unfair. Carry on, Peter, carry on doing all your lovely charity work and that. But there's no point in saying, trolls should go and do that. The trolls, they're not millionaires like you. They can't do it. So, they're not trolling you for doing that. They're trolling, if you call it trolling, it's not even trolling. They're not critiquing you for doing that. They're critiquing you for what's happened over this case.
People save their life.
Absolutely.
So let's have some reality here. Let's get together. Let's get together the National Search Centre and go, Peter, let's all sit around the table like we used to. Let's get rid of the ego trips and go, SGI, actually.
Like we used to in the good old days,
Maybe we could work with these people because this guy knows what he's talking about. Maybe we don't know what we're talking about with Sonar, because I can tell you now, the police do not have the Sonar experience that we have. They do not. They do not have the same kit as us. They said in the report they do. They do.
This is it. This is what, to me, this is the crux of the whole thing, is this bloody Sonar. Emma mentioned it in an interview right at the beginning, always whether the police have got whether Peter's got a better kit or the police have got a better kit. That will have been an issue from day one. Whose Sonar equipment was better than the other ones? It's just, it all comes down to this in my eyes. He's peed them off by bigging it up about what brilliant, Sonar equipment he's got. They've got annoyed with him. There's been, and it's resulted because they both lost, not only him, but the police as well, lost sight of the fact that what was important was finding this woman, this mother of two girls. That was what was important, not who had a bigger and better Sonar equipment than the other one. So they should all be ashamed in my eyes.
Not, because I confirmed with Terry the other day from Marine Sonic that no police force in the UK has invested, they will not spend £53,000 on specialist Sonar equipment. They will not. no budget. Let's use the people, and you can't just pick a Sonar up. I spent 3 years doing extensive trials with it. You can't just pick a Sonar up and go, oh, there, it's out the box, lads. Let's go and find some. No, it doesn't happen. It takes experience, like a surgeon, like a pilot. You know, when you look.
Now, something he said in the previous video, which he said, oh, the police get really intensive training. He said in Sonar, 8 weeks, 8-week course. What is that intensive training? You know, when I went to university, I did 3 years of learning about politics, etc. So, God, it sounds good in comparison to 8 weeks. But that is what he said in the last video. Now he's saying that they're not experts because you don't just take it out the box and the blah, de, blah, de, blah. But he said in the previous video, the police, I'm not knocking the police. That was before he had the whiskies, of course. I'm not knocking the police. They do a brilliant job and they have intensive training, 8 weeks. And I thought, 8 weeks? Doesn't seem like much, does it?
Learn to fly. When I learned to fly, I'd done my 78 hours and become a pilot, but it doesn't mean that I was any good. I could fly it, but it doesn't mean I was experienced at all. I got the kit, I got the badge, but I've got nothing.
He likes that word kit, doesn't he? He likes it. He's got the kit, bigger kit, better kit.
Else. Anyway,
it's all about the operator as well, isn't it? Like
it's all about the operator. So hopefully, everybody. I mean, all I'll say is I am telling the truth. I've got nothing to hide, and I really appreciate everybody listening.
But the video did disappear. Now, I'm not sure why. You know, Luke said he took it down, I think, after the guy died of a heart attack or whatever he died of natural causes. Peter Lawson, in Luke's original community post, which I don't know is still up there or not, probably not, because they do tend to disappear. He said it was because he felt he was taking all his Nicola Bulley stuff down. I think it was because, you know, he felt a bit uneasy. I mean, I think he's got children. It felt uneasy, you know. I think it was like everybody probably thought a bit, oh my God, what's happened to Peter Lawson? But he then put back his original interview with Peter, put that back up, but this has never re-emerged. And I just wonder if Peter watched this and thought, oh gosh, you know, but I feel sorry for the people that participated in it. People participated in this, sent money, you know, and then the video disappeared. You know, that's a bit unfortunate, really. It could have been edited. If they weren't happy, they could have edited it at least. But people didn't get a chance to watch it again. Some people didn't get a chance to watch it once.
To me tonight, because it means a lot to me. I'm not a liar.
For you.
Yeah, thanks, Luke. And I'd like to thank Luke for, you know, coming down. He got to know me as a real person rather than this bloke in a, you know, sitting in a shiny suit when I was doing Nicole Bulley, but as a real person with my animals, my family, and I'm just saying I'm honest, and I don't stitch people up, I don't lie, and SGI provide a first-class service to all of our clients with honesty and integrity, and that's what I'm known for. I'm not misleading. I've got nothing to gain by saying that was Nicola Bulley in the river.
Well, you have, Peter. You've got a lot to gain. And I never doubted that you were honest. I've never doubted that Peter was honest until he came out with all this. And not only that, it's the sidekick, it's the other things, it's the veiled threats from some of his minions that I've had blocking me on Twitter when I've never even spoken to him or tweeted him or anything. They're just total mystery, just because I've criticised him, I suppose. So, you know, these are the things. And anyway, people will make their own minds up.
You know, if I never work for the police again, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. But I've still got the greatest respect for police officers. I want to make that clear. If I don't work for the police again, that's fine. But we will always be there to assist the families. And if someone goes missing, and like Liam Graham in Kent the other week, he was called. They called us to assist the family, and we went down to assist free of charge. Okay, my own money.
Peter, I think that's a good place to conclude.
Yeah.
Cheers. I'll drink some of this water. It's been in front of my heater for a bit, so it's warm, tepid water, so it's not the best. But I'm having a wine after this. Cheers, Pete.
Everybody, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for all of the comments. Thank you for all the likes.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super chats. Thank you to the moderators. Thank you for sticking around for 200.
I really want to like him. I really do. So you know, when the Sonar images come out, maybe, and I'll tell you, I'll be the first person to say, oh yeah, they are the right images, but I still not really ever understand why he's gone around it the way he has. But anyway, the jury's out still. I still, you know.
102 minutes. Wow. I'm gonna go and get myself a nice glass and chill out. Listen, everybody that's on this channel that has subscribed recently, you're a real great bunch of people. Yeah. I get a lot of great comments. I get a lot of great support, and some of the comments I personally get about being an honest, decent guy. It's very humbling. I appreciate it.
Can I just say, Luke? I showed Luke the images of Nicola months ago, back in probably August.
July
was it? When?
I think you showed me. No, you told me in July.
Yeah.
And you showed me in October.
That's right. Okay, October. Yeah, whenever it was. But
So that's interesting, isn't it? So he says, you told me about the images in July, so that was after the inquest. That was probably, what was that, when he went down there? And you showed me in October. That was probably when they did the interview.
I showed you, and you've kept them, to yourself. And again, when I done the police report, I kept everything to myself, and I said in pretty. So
he says you've kept them to yourself. So you obviously sent them to him. See, he shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have done that. So those images, Luke hasn't, as far as I know, Luke hasn't shown them to anyone else. But who knows? You don't know in his private life if he has. But Peter should not have let those images go. He shouldn't have let those images go not to Luke, not to the psychic, not to the other YouTubers, not shown them to the policemen and the paramedic. He should have either kept them to himself or, taken them to a proper person. Sorry, that's what I think.
Luke's previous interview, please, I'm working with the police along with the inquiry. I'm trying to go along with this to make sure that we get the facts out. And that's what I'll always try to do. I want to work alongside the police, as I have done for many years, since 1999 and pre that anyway. I don't want to go against the police. I've got no intentions. I've got no hate for Lancashire Police, whatever they think about me, but I would love to have a meeting with them, to sit around a table and say, let's sort this problem out, because it's not fair picking on the little man. Let's all sit round and have a coffee and have a chat, and let's be nice to people. And the public would gain so much more respect from the police, with leaders who actually lead from the front and go, maybe we might have got it wrong. Maybe.
Yeah, again, let's all sit down, have a coffee, and let me be proved right.
We got this wrong. We probably did, but we're sorry. And maybe the report should have been published slightly different, hopefully. And we can all go forward. I want to continue what I do. And I just want to make sure that everybody knows we have had our busiest year ever on turnover. SGI are an extremely busy team. We do a lot more than underwater search and land search. So this hasn't affected us in any way. We've become a lot busier anyway. So onwards and upwards. And
so if it hasn't affected him in any way, it's given him a lot of publicity, that's for sure. And now, of course, we didn't even know that he did like protest removal and all these other things. So why did he just not stay quiet then?
If you're there, follow me on my Peter Faulding author page, or my Specialist Group International, or my Twitter feed, and you'll see what we really do. But Luke, thanks for everything.
No problem, mate. Thank you.
Good night, everybody. And but what I was going to say, Luke, I'm going to start my own channel called Break the Glass against you. No.
Okay, I'm gonna start my own search and rescue team, and I'll shave my head. Yeah.
Good man. Yeah, I know.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope that that's like answered at least a few things that were on your mind. Yeah, again, thanks to the moderators. Thanks for all of the interaction. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna end this with everyone have a nice run up to Christmas.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish you all. I wish you all a peaceful Christmas and spend time with your family. And thanks to all. Thank you very much. Good night.
Peace out, everyone. Thanks, Peter.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so that's it. That's the interview, the end of the interview. I'm going to put them all on a playlist, and then you'll be able to look at them whenever you feel like looking at them. They'll be there, and yeah, we'll see what transpires in the new year, which we're in on the 17th. So see what happens this month, see where it goes from here, if anywhere. Maybe, well, he doesn't want a new inquiry, but who knows what will come up, who knows. To be honest, I'm glad to finish this now. I don't care if I never hear the word side scan Sonar ever again. I'm sick of Sonar. I just feel for Nicola's family having to hear that actually their daughter or their mother was still there in the river, was in there in the river and left there for another 2 weeks. That's awful. But anyway, so I'll see you very soon in the next video. Remember to live and love very carefully, very wisely, and may your God go with you. Thank you so much. Bye.